We are not just floating through space in some timeless existence. Time is ticking, and whether you're working or sitting or sleeping or eating or drinking or talking, not only will what we do be held in a not only what we do will be held in will be taken into account, but how we use our time. That doesn't mean we have to be working all the time. I think it's not saying that at all, but also we have a limited amount of time. And it's the same thing with the return of Jesus. There is a limited amount of time when Jesus will return. But I also add, Jesus is not coming soon. That's a mistranslation of the Bible. You may study it. You may look it up. I have done so. Jesus is not coming soon. He is coming suddenly. That word soon should be translated suddenly. So the things that will lead up to the things that are happening now and will happen in the future are from Daniel and from Revelation is what I can think of, and from Acts, and from Joel. Joel says in the last days, and it's repeated in Acts, Peter says the same thing, in the last days I'll pour out my spirit on all flesh. Now when it says all flesh, that means everybody will prophesy. It says your sons and your daughters will prophesy. Your young men will see visions. Your old men will dream dreams. So that is coming, and that will coordinate at the same time as the revelation of the Antichrist, or maybe slightly after the revelation of the Antichrist. Before that, there will be a renunciation of Christianity. People talk about the great falling away. I think it's just a falling away. I don't think it's a great falling away. It's the great squeezing or tribulation, as it says in Revelation. That will come. The tribulation will come. But first, there will be the Holy Spirit and the Antichrist. I'm not sure which comes first. And people will, and the nations will be formed together into one world. Like Toby Mac said, one world ought to be more than enough. One world. Because Toby Mac is not a Christian. It's blatantly obvious to me. And not just because of what he sang about. These people who rise up and become very popular and well spoken of, Jesus warned about that in Matthew 5. But in Joel it says, your sons and your daughters will prophesy. In Malachi, it says he will turn the hearts of the fathers to their children and the hearts of the children to their fathers, or I will come and strike the land with a curse. I guess it's mostly gone, but I think it still gets to have some relevance today. It still does have some relevance today. But you have the mark of the beast long after you have the Antichrist. I think personally The Antichrist will be here by 2033 or 2034, so 10 or 11 more years. I would say 10 or 11 more years max. It is 2023, September 13th, 2023. In 10 or 11 more years max, we will have the Antichrist. But the mark of the beast comes after that. And for what I can see in the Bible, significantly after that, decades after that, at least, for what I can see. And then when they take the mark of the beast and they're one world, and we have the North American Union, which I've spoken about. As I've said, we've already have the African Union. We already have the African Union. They're talking about the ECO. You can look that up, ECO, ECO, just like the Euro. And we're supposed to have the Amero. And I saw somebody on YouTube, they've deleted, they've obfuscated the visual. They've obfuscated the video. But he used to show, and I think he still does, but you can't see it. They obfuscated the picture. They have, he shows an Amero and what it looks like. And somebody could say, well, he got that made, or he was an artist and he made an Amero. But the Amero is coming, and he said, and he showed it, and he said, we're already sending the Amero to China as payment for our goods. We're paying China in Ameros. He said, and this was years ago, years and years ago. So we have the Antichrist, and we have the two witnesses. I think the two witnesses will be here as soon as the Antichrist is here. About the same time, but the Holy Spirit, your sons and your stars will prophesy. I would say that'll happen about the same time as the Antichrist, about 2033, according to my calculations, or 2034, somewhere around there. Could be wrong. But Jesus will not come back until about 4000, AD 4000 when he's coming back. And there will be the Antichrist, and they will require everybody to get the chip. I think that's right. I think it's a chip. I think they'll require everybody to get the chip. Some type of digital implant in their right hand or in their forehead. And I figured out, I talked about people getting a chip, and I think it was the Philippines. I couldn't find anything about it, but somebody said something about it. And they got a chip in their right hand, unless they didn't have arms or didn't have a right arm, didn't have a right hand, then they got it in their forehead. And I always wondered why it would be right hand or forehead, and it's because not everybody has right hands. And so that will come, the persecution will come. The persecution is already here for Christians. But the Antichrist will ramp it up. The false prophet will appear and do miracles in the Antichrist's name. He will make the beast, an image of the beast, to both speak and walk, or something like that. I don't remember what it was. And Jesus will come back about 4000, because heaven is noted as having streets of gold, which has to do with Leo. Leo has to do with gold, the opposite sign of Aquarius. And gates of silver, or gates of pearly gates. That's opposite the sign of Capricorn. That's about 4000 AD will be about when we have Capricorn. The opposite sign is Cancer. The Antichrist is denoted by Leo, because Leo is the opposite of Aquarius. We're in the age of Aquarius. Leo is the king. Leo is ruled by the sun, which is the king of the sky. That's why Jesus comes back, or Jesus is shown in Revelation. Jesus comes back as the lion. He starts out as the lamb. He comes back as the lion. which is what Leo is supposed to represent. Leo means lion in Latin. So, in between the time Jesus comes back, when I don't know the hour or the day, I don't know the hour or the day. Even the Son of Man does not know the hour or the day. Even Jesus does not know the hour or the day. But there will be God's wrath poured down for what they did for killing all the Christians. God's wrath will be poured down. First they'll be killed, then God's wrath will come down upon them. The same thing would happen with Israel. You know, the Israelites did what they wanted, and they did not obey God, and they were murdering and or worshiping other gods, which required human sacrifice. Moloch is notable. Moloch would require sacrifice, human sacrifice. And God said, don't do this, and they said, we won't. And a new generation came up and they did it. And there was no punishment. That's what will happen during the kingdom of the beast, during the rule of the beast, who will rule over 10 kings who will give their power to the beast for a time times half a time. During that time, God will be working and protecting the woman for a time times and half a time. That is 42 months or 1,260 years. It also says 1,260 days. 1,260 years. She will be protected from the beast, or from the beast. And so will the two prophets. The two olive trees, as it says in Ezekiel, I think. I think it's Ezekiel. Yes, I think so. But the punishment will come to the beast afterward, and then it will be the 1,000-year reign of Christ. And after the 1,000 years have ended, Satan will try to take over again. That's why it says wars and rumors of wars, because they have to decide who will be who will rule the world after Satan is put in his prison for 1,000 years. So that's the timeline. The humans will destroy Rome, which will house the beast, and destroy the great city. And immediately after that, it says the sun will be darkened, the moon will give its light, the stars will fall from the sky. Once again, people don't believe this stuff. It's more of a problem with God. It's more of a problem with God than it is with anything else. More of a problem with somebody telling them what to do, which will be characteristic of the age of Aquarius. Okay, that's the timeline. God bless you. It'll happen over hundreds of years. The punishment of the beast will happen over hundreds of years. It'll say, 6 months or something like that. That's 180 years. And there'll be a lot of suffering for them, and they will kill us. They will behead us according to the scriptures. There will be a lot of years of suffering for the beast. The earthquakes, the sea roaring, the venereal diseases that no one can cure, I think that come from Satan. That's the story. So I wish you got something and learned something from this video.